this. So again, my name is Beth Zink. I am the Director of Career Development in the Center for Career Exploration and Success. And today I'm so excited that you want to join me and hear more about how to support your student in their internship or job search. I'm going to be giving you some information, and I have a colleague, Joe Hawkins, who is also on, who will be helping to navigate the Q&A for the end of the session. So if you have questions, please use the Q&A, and Joe will help us navigate that at the end of the session. So we'll get all of your answers taken care of at the end. So to get started, I just wanted to give you kind of a view of why we're doing this. So you may have seen this before, Miami's Career Community. We really enlist the help of a lot of people to help our students navigate their career path. And these are all the different groups. And obviously one of them is families. And we really think it's important that really all of the career community kind of understand what's happening in the world of career on campus, to maybe help nudge or inform or direct students in the right direction. Because again, there's so much going on campus, so many things that kind of distract them. It may be helpful if you kind of know what's going on, so you can say, hey, I heard this, maybe you should, check this out. And that's really why we wanted to come today and talk with you a little bit about the internship and job search, specifically starting this fall so soon. I know you probably just wished your student good luck in their semester, maybe dropped them off this past weekend, and here we are talking about career fairs. And so to give you a little insight into that, our career fairs are coming up on September 9th and 10th, and I'll give you all that information soon. But everyone says, well, why is it so early? The students are still unpacking, and they are, and we know that. But we started messaging them last spring to let them know of the early date. And just to give you some information or a backstory to that, we have to hold our large all major career fairs at Millette. That's the largest space on campus. And so when we put in for a request for dates, it is really kind of navigating when they can accommodate us. And this year, because of some events, it was going to either be early September or late October. And I think you'll all agree, we want our students seen early for those employers. So we don't want any of those opportunities already filled by the time we get to October. So again, that's kind of why this fall, they're falling a little bit early. So we are working very hard to let our students know about this and to have the same types of prep events and get them all ready. But I do think this might help for you to have some information, and whether it's now for the fall fair or in the future, this is good information for you to know. And we do appreciate you being part of that career community. So I'm going to go through some information kind of based on the three pillars that we use in the Career Center, which is Explore, Prepare, Connect. And this is really how our website is also outlined, so you can see the resources in those same fashions in our website. But this is kind of taking students through the search for internships and job opportunities. We start with Explore, and I think this can be sometimes a barrier for students because there are students who may not have really identified clearly what they're looking for. And so if we're not sure what we're looking for, sometimes it's hard to attend a career fair. It becomes even more overwhelming. And so these are some things that we suggest to students to kind of help them explore. Now that I'm looking for something, I need to kind of figure out what that looks like. So on this slide, we talk about reading job postings. A big advocate of looking at actual internship descriptions and job descriptions and helping students read through those and see what do they like? What do they not like? What connects with them? What have they heard about that said, oh yeah, I think that would be interesting. So really just kind of reading through those job posts. And this can be anywhere. It can be LinkedIn, it can be Indeed. A good old fashioned Google search for communication internships gives you a list of some job descriptions of those internships. But most importantly, the resource that we really want to push to students is called Handshake. And this is something you may have heard through some of the many career presentations that you might have been to. Handshake is our career management platform. It is what we use to house all of our internship and full-time job opportunities. It is where we put all of our events. We list our career fairs and who's attending those career fairs. It is also where your student can make an appointment with a career advisor. So it really is their career management tool to be used. And I will tell you, if you hear things such as, well, Handshake is for business majors only. That's a myth. Anyone in the Career Center would love the challenge to show a student how we can find them something that they would be interested in based on their career cluster, their major, their industries, or their companies that they're interested in. We would love to show them that. It is for everyone. And so that is again, a guiding force in all of these job search opportunities. The next bullet, networking, obviously can sometimes sound like a dirty word. Some people, it's very uncomfortable. So we really talk about having career conversations and meeting people and finding connections. And that could be with a number of groups, starting with friends and family. It can go to faculty. It can then move to our alumni, which is such a strong resource for all of our students. So networking, we have networking events on campus. We have events where there's networking opportunities. And really, those are great times to ask. Tell me about your job. Tell me about what you like working in the fashion industry. So those are great opportunities to help students explore. I always put reviewing LinkedIn. Again, LinkedIn is for every industry. And one of the ways we use this to help students explore is, I call it career stalking, basically just looking at profiles. And they can search by industry, they can search by major, they can search by an organization they are interested in learning more about, and just reading people's profiles to see this person is now in this position. What did they do prior to get there? Specifically internships. Let's look at internships that maybe this person did before they got to that position, or have they done some research that got them to that next level? So reviewing LinkedIn profiles is very helpful. And then our website, that's CCES, the Career Center website, lots of great resources, lots of free links to resources. One is, what can I do with this major? Really helps students kind of connect maybe some common job titles to their areas of academics or their interests. We also have Candid Careers, which is a library of videos about people talking about their careers. So almost mini informational interviews that students can look at. So again, a number of different resources that can be helpful in that exploration phase, which sometimes is the first step to really looking for opportunities, especially at a career fair. Now, I do want to kind of pause here and just talk a little bit about internships, because I think there's a lot of pressure. I hear students really like, I've got to get an internship this summer. I've got to find an internship. And I try to diffuse that anxiety a little bit, because yes, we want them to have some experience. We are very supportive and encouraging of experiential education on campus. And yet internships really just represent one type of experience that can help students. So I've got a few important bullets that I think are important to kind of let you and students know that all career-related experiences are valuable. So it can become in any form: internships, part-time jobs, anything that's career-related can be valuable. Some industries actually lack internships for undergraduate students, and I've listed specifically pre-med and pre-law students struggle because internships in those areas that are truly titled internship can often be for med students or law students. So we have to be a little more creative with those students and help them find those valuable career-related experiences. Summer jobs, I know we just came off of summer, but summer jobs or winter term jobs, things that students go back to for the weekend or for a couple of weeks off, can be very valuable. And we talk to students about elevating that experience. So if they want to go back to a job that they love, that pays well, but may not be as career related as an internship or another experience, we talk to them about asking for opportunities at this place. If they're going back to that place, they're valued. And so they might be able to ask for opportunities such as, can I help review some applications this summer? Could I help maybe training some of the new staff? Or could I work a little bit on our website and improve some things? So maybe asking to elevate that continued opportunity really can help build in some of those career experiences as well. I've also got something new or relatively new listed here called gigs or project-based internships. Sometimes they're called micro internships. These are great for all types of skill development, and they're basically projects that an employer needs help with, but they're very time limited. So it could be something they think might take 10 hours or 20 hours. Students can do it remotely based on their schedule, so they can work on something and complete it and get paid for it, and really have that experience and those skills that they've developed to add to their resume. So I'll talk about a resource that students can use to find those in just a minute. And then I always have to list volunteering, because employers are looking for skills and experience on a resume. Typically, they're not looking to see, is it labeled an internship or was a student paid for it? I know we all like to be paid for it. However, that volunteer experience can still get a lot of good experience for that next paid opportunity. So we do encourage students to still really look at those as well, depending on where they are in their career path. So moving on to now the prepare section, and I think preparing is really getting all those documents together. It's we're working on your elevator pitch. It's getting ready for that next step, which is an interview. Our career fairs are set up that typically the day after a career fair, some employers will stay in Oxford and stay on campus to hold interviews. So those can come up pretty quickly. So we are also talking to our students about, let's get your resume updated. Let's get your elevator pitch confirmed. And then let's also talk a little bit about interviewing in case you happen to fall in that pool of candidates that might get an interview the next day. And so really we have a number of different things. Again, I'm going to direct you back to our website where we have a lot of great resources. The one listed called VMock is an AI tool that not only can give students immediate feedback on their resumes with suggested changes or word changes or grammatically correct phrases, but it also has a component where they can practice their elevator pitch and interview questions and get some really good feedback, either from the module, the AI tool, or letting one of the career advisors review that as well. So that is a great way that students, and they might want to be doing this at midnight. I encourage that if that's their time frame. However, the AI tools are probably more alert at midnight than I am. So that would be where I would direct them. And then we could talk the next day about what their results were. But we also have drop-in peer career coaches that are here every day for quick 15-minute check-ins. Let me see your resume. Let's run through your elevator pitch, as well as our career advisors. We have a large staff of career advisors dedicated to all students in all majors and all colleges. And again, students can create that appointment through handshake with their career advisor. And they don't need to know who that is. When they go in to sign up, it will come up with the career advisors that are dedicated to their college or their areas of study. And then interviewing, again, VMock checks the box for that. But we also have a very robust mock interview program where students can sign up to do in-person or virtual mock interviews any day with our trained peer career coaches, or we have some volunteer alumni that come in, and oftentimes we'll have mock interview days where employers will come in and help with that too. So there's a number of ways that students can really kind of fine-tune or work on their interviewing skills before they embark into any kind of search. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit more about Connect. This is actually a picture of our career fair, so you kind of get the sense of what it looks like. And I just will say, it is one of those events that a lot of students can become overwhelmed. It is large and crowded and loud, and sometimes you're waiting in line to talk with employers, so you can kind of get a sense here in that picture. I will tell you, though, some provisions that we have in place at the career fairs. There's a kind of a restoration break place where students can get out of the crowd, and it's a quiet place where they can kind of regroup, to have some water, think through their notes, and then go back out. So there's the ability to kind of go out and take a little break, step out of the chaos and such. We do have hydration stations, so there's free water for students to kind of, again, take that break. One of my favorite things is it's in the arena, the part of the career fair. This is where you're seeing on the floor those red chairs and the picture. Actually, those are all open. And so sometimes I'll suggest to students to go high up into the top of those and in the kind of dark, quiet, and just get regroup before they go back into the fair. So if you have a student that's a little more anxious about crowds or will become overwhelmed or really just exhausted, there are places to take breaks, and there are staff around that can kind of help talk through some nervousness or anxiety as well. So I want to let you know that that's a part of the career fair as well. So, okay, back to the connecting. So I put this Parker Dewey is the first one, and that's actually the resource where students can find those gigs or micro internships. It is a site that is on our website. Students can log in with their Miami information. It is and again, all these are free resources. And students can actually search for those project internships and apply for those. And then, so it's really can be very nice, especially for students who are working and going to class and maybe want a little something on the side, or for athletes specifically, this is very helpful because again, it's a limited commitment and they can do it at, on their time, their schedule, and produce something. And they're in these gigs are in all different kinds of areas, from communications, from design, there's some artistic ones, to research. So a lot of different options there for students in that resource. I mentioned Handshake before. I'll just mention it again. It's something your student came to Miami and already had an account as soon as they hit campus. So regardless if they're an incoming student or if they're graduating this year, that Handshake account has been there for them, and they can use their Miami information to log in and get access to, again, all those internships and jobs that have been posted. The reason, again, we like Handshake for students so much and really see it as their first go-to is that the employers that post in here are looking for recent graduates. So our students need to know these are opportunities for college students. If you go to Indeed or you go to LinkedIn, sometimes it's a question like, am I qualified, or is that for someone who's got a little more experience? And so we say, go ahead and apply anyway. However, with Handshake, at least they know that these are employers who are seeking college students. We use our Miami alum a lot. A lot of the employers that come back to the fairs and back to our networking nights are alumni. They love to come back to campus, get a little bagel and deli on the side, and meet with students. So that is one of the things that I think is very helpful to our students, that immediate connection, maybe it's a similar club that they joined or activity they did or class that they took, but that connection really does kind of help our students feel a little more comfortable. And again, Miami alumni benefit from being able to hire other Miami candidates. So that's always helpful. And I will talk about another resource in just a minute on that too. LinkedIn, we've mentioned. We usually try to help students navigate LinkedIn earlier in their career here, setting up a profile, helping them kind of continually update that. It has become a very common way that employers connect at career fairs. Oftentimes, a student might be talking to an employer and they might say, I'd love to take your resume. Or they might say, I'm not collecting resumes, but I would love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn, or here's my email. And so we want students to be ready to go ahead and be able to connect with employers on the spot. So we want that LinkedIn profile ready to go. And if you have not heard or have not seen, but when you were on campus, in our office, in the Career Center, we have a LinkedIn headshot photo booth where students are able to drop in Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, and have their picture taken in the LinkedIn photo booth for free. They can take as many as they want. They can come back the next year. I always tell them, if you got a new hairstyle and you want to come back and get an updated picture, you can come back and do it all over again. But it does allow them to have that professional look from the beginning. I always tell them, I love a good prom shot, but that's not what I want to see on your LinkedIn profile. So let's get a nice free headshot and take that to the next level of professionalism. Networking, again, we try to tone it down with career conversations, but we do work with students on how to do this. What are some good questions to ask when you're networking or you're meeting someone for the first time? So that's part of that elevator pitch. Let's work on that elevator pitch. At the career fair, when students check in, we have a number of resource tables at the very beginning before they even get into the employers. One of those tables is an employer pitch table where students can go up and practice their pitch before they even hit the floor with employers. And a lot of students will take advantage of that. If they have not really said it out of their mouth, it's good to stop and say it to someone before they the employer floor. We also have a table, an information table, so if they have questions at all, they can get that answered. And we also have a first-time friendly table, so if students are coming in for the very first time and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing here, they can come to the first-time friendly table, and we can kind of walk them through what all of this means, where are the maps, how to find out where the employers are, notice what people are wearing, and that there might be a line that they're waiting in. So those are some resource tables that are at the fair, I think, very helpful to students. I will tell you, just mentioning the first time friendly table, there are a number of classes that will require students to attend a fair, not necessarily to engage with an employer, although they are more than welcome to do that, but sometimes just to come and see what it's like. So when that student is ready to get into a search, to really talk with employers, they've been to the fair and they have an idea, a visual idea, an auditory idea of what that looks like and how they might navigate that. And so we do have a number of students that do come for that. Last year's incoming first year class, so they're now sophomores this year, the last year's class, we had over half of that class attend a career fair last year, which is a pretty high number for first years to be that engaged. And I think a lot of it is because faculty really support students' career paths, and they encourage them to go to these fairs and check them out. So it's very possible that your student might have visited a fair just to see what it's like. And that is certainly possible this year too. If they are not ready for that search, we'd love for them to just kind of come and check it out. So I mentioned the career fairs. Okay, moving on. A word about networking. Here's just some things that we have on tap now and some ongoing activities for students. We do have a number of career panels, and we call them, professional days for different academic areas, open to all students, where we have a lot of times alumni come back and tell about their careers, or maybe some employers that want to kind of share what all opportunities they might have in their organization. And so that's a great way to network. Well, students can come to those and just have more of a casual, informal meeting with the employers. We, in addition to our all major fair, which is first up this year, we have a STEM fair. And then SEEN is basically our sports industry career fair. And I will let you know that the sports industry fair is not just for sports management or marketing majors. Any student with a career interest in the sports industry is more than welcome to come to that career fair and talk with employers to see if that's something that they, might want to be involved in. So this year we have our all major fair on September 9th. And I'll give you a code to look this up, but September 9th. Then the very next day, September 10th, is our STEM fair. And then the very next day is SEEN, our sport industry fair. So they're all in 1 week, and students can go to any and all of those that they want to. We also have some career fair prep workshops and resources. We are asked to come into student organizations and classes in the next couple of weeks to help students prepare. And I think there's a number of ways they can. I just, because the fair is early this year, we are really trying to get that message out to them. So if that's another message you can give, that there are places to go and people to help, that would be great to share, because we certainly want them feeling as comfortable as possible entering those fairs. And I would also highlight that career fairs are one way we help connect students with opportunities. It is probably, we call it our wedding. It's like the big event. It is, the culminating event where all students are welcome to come. However, throughout the year, we do a number of different things to help them connect. So fairs are not one for everyone. And there's many different ways that students can connect, but because they are large, because they are important, and because it can be just a good experience to kind of get students in the job search mode, we do like to talk about them and encourage them to consider coming. As I mentioned on Handshake, students can look up, they can look up the STEM fair, and they can see the employers that are attending, and they can see which ones are offering internships or full-time jobs or both. They can see what years the employers might be talking to, or majors. And I will tell you, there's definitely a trend where it's much more open on each of these fairs, that that employers are looking to or willing to talk with any year or any academic area. They're really focused on the person and the interests that they bring. So they might find that there's more available to them than they thought originally. I'm going to just touch quickly on these individual activities about networking. So we do encourage them to kind of start with family and friends, but a lot of times they're going in a different direction and may not have some career-related networking sources in their own social network. So we do encourage them to talk again with faculty. MAC stands for Miami Alumni Connect. And this is another resource just involving Miami alums and Miami students. It is coordinated out of the alumni office, and we kind of call it the Miami LinkedIn, because this is a group of Miami alum who have signed up to be in this resource specifically to help our students with career advice. So it might be, giving them some feedback on a resume. It might be offering an opportunity to job shadow. It might be introducing them to others in their career network. There's a number of different things that these alums have signed up to help with. And so I call it the warm and fuzzy connection for students, because we help them see some templates on communication back and forth to kind of help them reach out and ask for help. Again, because it's a Miami alum, it's a definite a connection. And so hopefully that could be another resource. And again, they're all over the country, because we know that our students aren't just staying right here. And so we want to make sure that they get connections in the geographic areas that they want to go, or the organizations or the industries, to help them align with their career plan. And so then I mentioned LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just good for everybody, I think. So that's why we encourage that for networking, career stalking, and applying to jobs. Okay, so on this slide, the QR code will take you to the Career Center website, where all of our fall career and internship fairs are listed. So the three that I've mentioned, the all major career and internship fair, the STEM fair, and SEEN, sports industry. Throughout the year, there are other fairs. We have an architecture fair, we have an education fair. We'll also have another all major fair in February. I believe that hot off the press, the spring all major and internship fair is February 24th. So that gives us a few more weeks after they hit campus again to go through that. And a really good plan of attack is if you've got a graduating student this year, if they are thinking, I'm going to job search more in the spring semester, we usually encourage, and we will tell them, go to the fall fair and begin to build some relationships, because it's typically organizations send the same or similar recruiters, and it is a relationship building. So even if they say, I'm not graduating until May, I can't be hired right now, they can go and build a relationship and stay in connection, and then go in the spring and say, hey, now I'm ready. And I took the advice you gave me in the fall about, maybe getting this experience, or, building up my references, or whatever it might have been. And so they're more prepared in the spring. So I think that's a good plan of attack that we usually try to encourage those students. Same with the summer internships. It's not too early to start looking. Different organizations, different industries are on different recruiting cycles. And so some are looking in the fall to snatch up their summer help. Others might not even post it until spring semester. So it's good for students to be aware, to be looking at Handshake, to be looking at the career fairs, to be talking with the Career Center, to help them navigate this search in a timely way throughout the year, to help them find something. So again, that QR code should have taken you to the website. But again, if you just go to Miami's website, search for Career Center, it will take you to our main page, and you'll be able to search on there for all of our career fairs and our events as well. So at this time, I'm just going to give you kind of a couple next steps to, like, this is all great. Now what do I do? To maybe help you navigate this, and to maybe help you as again, part of that career community, help your student, find their place or their resources in this crazy job search situation. So, having a conversation with a student. Obviously it's early in the semester, how are classes going? Hey, I know it's the beginning of the year. Have you talked with either your advisor or career advisor about, summer opportunities, or, did you know there's a career fair coming up on the 9th? Anything like that to kind of get them started. And then as you're having this conversation, listen for cues as to what might help them. Is it that they're like, yeah, but I don't even know what I'd look for if I went. And maybe that's back at that explore section. And maybe there's some resources on the website, but a good old fashioned conversation with a career advisor might help as well. And helping them maybe remove that barrier so they feel more comfortable about coming to the fair. Or is it, I've never been before. Hey, this is a great time. I heard you can just pop in and you don't even have to talk to anybody. Just see what it's like. And then you'll be prepared in the spring when maybe you want to use it. We do have sometimes students who say, I have classes, I can't miss class. And although some classes do get excused, some might not. And we encourage students, one, they can always give us their resume and we can connect with the employer that they hoped to talk with or the ones they hope to talk with at the career fair and just say, Beth was not able to come to the fair, do some classes, but she certainly wanted to connect with you. She asked me to give her your resume, and they will gladly take a stack of resumes if students cannot make, or maybe they work and they can't get off work. So if they're saying those types of things to you in the conversations, there's workarounds that we can help them navigate that certainly. And then, refer them to not only the resources on the website, but you can say, hey, I remember hearing about this event, or there's got to be some kind of networking events coming up, or, I'm fascinated by Handshake. When you come home for the weekend, or can you talk me through what does that look like to see if they're maybe getting into that resource and using it? I swear, Handshake, as soon as a student gets in and sees what's in there, they're like, oh, okay. Now I get it. And so, anytime I can get a student to just kind of look in there with me, I think it's a huge win. So maybe, again, resources, event, and certainly the Career Center. We are here to help students. If it's, a quick drop-in or if it's an appointment, we would love to help them. With the career fair being so soon, we have a lot of opportunities for the students to meet with our peer career coaches to get quick questions taken, but we also have availability for career advising. If they're not able to get in before the career fair, they need to come after the career fair because we still have more we can do. So encourage that if that's something that might help your student. So at this point, I'm gonna stop and pause and see if we have some questions that we can take care of that I can address. And Joe will help us out with that as we navigate through that.
Yeah, the first question, Beth, is about how a student can get an appointment with a career advisor.
Yes. So they can do it two ways, honestly. The first way is through Handshake. When they log into their Handshake profile, it will direct them to the Career Center link. And right on the Career Center link is a big button saying appointment, schedule an appointment, and they can schedule it that way and set it up. But I will also give you my email. And if students, sometimes if Handshake is a barrier to making the appointment, I would rather have them email me directly and say, hey, I would love to make an appointment with one of the career advisors. And I'm happy to do that for them. And remove that barrier so that they can make an appointment. And I will give you my email. They can also stop in the office and just say, I'd like to make an appointment, and someone should be able to help them at the front desk with that. So those are different ways to do that. So my email, it's pretty easy. It's Beth, Beth.zink, Z-I-N-K. So Beth.zink at miamioh.edu. And so if you want to say, hey, I got this email, send this to her and get an appointment with someone, I'm happy to walk them through that.
Thank you. I put that chat, the email address in the chat for reading.
Okay.
Second question is, how do students get this information, the same stuff that you're presenting, Beth, the parents? How do students find out about this, particularly for freshmen who are interested in getting into job, career-oriented opportunities as early as in their J term in summer, their first year?
Right, absolutely. So we started messaging students through email. We send newsletters out on Sunday evenings with all of this information, and we send, first year students get a different kind of newsletter email in different groups. Sometimes we do it by cluster. So that's the one way that we definitely communicate with students. We also will be in a lot of different classes in the next couple weeks. So they might see us in a class. If you have a first year student, most likely they are in either a UNV 101, which is I Am Miami. It's an orientation course. And some of us even teach one. I've got one this afternoon I'm teaching. We that class, all of those first years get that message. Or if you're in students in Farmer, they get Biz 106 class. They will be going through an entire kind of like training session to get ready for the fairs. So they're getting all of that either in class or through their email. We're also doing a very visible, we call it the pop-up shop in Armstrong. So students, this is our busy building. They come here for food. They're waiting for Chick-fil-A madly. It hasn't opened yet, but they're checking on it. So they're always in the building, and we're right there as they go by. And so a lot of students will engage with us there, and we'll tell them about the fair. So there are a number of those different ways. But again, we rely on that career community. So we want our academic advisors talking to the students about career fair, which they are. Our faculty is doing that. And we're hoping, again, that you can maybe be the voice of reason as well.
All right, there's just one more question in the chat, so if anybody else has anything, hit that Q&A button down there, and we'll get to it. Last question is, where can students find help preparing for the career fair?
So we do have a number of things online. We have what we call our career toolkit. There's a couple of forms there that talk about it. We also have some things out on YouTube that we've done in the past, some different workshops. We do have a session that we're doing September 3rd, which is navigating the career fair. So it's a workshop they can go to. And if they can't make that, we also send out the slides to that to anyone who registers but can't make it or says, hey, I'd love to see that. I'm happy to send that out to them as well. They will get in those newsletters that they get on Sunday night, various links, like here's how you need to work on your elevator pitch for the career fair. Or we also offer, free resume printing and name badge printing. And that information is in those emails as well. I also have directed students that one resource called Candid Careers, which has the short little videos on different career informational interviews. They also have, how to do an elevator pitch, what questions to ask employers at a career fair, those types of helpful things that we do send out. A lot of times on social media, we really can only reach students through email and through social media. And so those are probably the places that they would pick up that information. But if they just even want to pop in and say, hey, I'd like to talk to someone about the career fair, our peer career coaches are, they work the fair. They know the fair. They would be a great resource to have a quick kind of tutorial on here's what it's going to look like. Here's what you need to do. Here's how you need to prepare.
Okay. One more popped in.
Okay.
Will this recording be available on your website?
It will be actually put on YouTube, the YouTube channel, and I believe that's probably going to be once it's fixed next week.
It'll be on the Parent and Family Programs YouTube channel, and it'll also be and we'll share that out through the newsletter, and we'll put a link both on the Instagram and the bio in our link tree and for Parent and Family Programs, and on to the post in Facebook. We will, as soon as we have it uploaded, we'll get it out to everybody and make it as visible as possible.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's why we had to do this presentation so early, is because, again, the career fair is so soon. So I appreciate all of you joining us the second day of class when you were, again, just adjusting to your student being out of the house again. But it is important that we get this information out to them. Again, the distractions are real. The weather is nice, and we still want them to know that the career fairs are coming. So appreciate that.
Absolutely. That was the last question.
Great. Well, you have my email. If something else comes up, or if you have another question that maybe is more individualized to your situation, please feel free to email me. I'm happy to connect and get you any other resources that you might need. We all want your students to be successful and to navigate their career path however best they can. And so we appreciate you being a part of that career community and helping us with that. We really do. And I appreciate you being here today.
Thanks, Beth. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thanks, everyone.
All right,
Have a good
bye.
day.